Good evening. Thank you for joining us this December 20th regular session. Call this meeting to order, and we're going to have the invocation given by Councilmember Martinez and a pledge to the flag. So if you could please stand.
Father God, I come before you this evening as a member of the elected body of the city of Hagerstown. Let your supernatural wisdom saturate the atmosphere as we commit this meeting to you. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path that's best for the constituents of Hagerstown. Help us be righteous and just. Let your will be done. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to be following the rules of procedure effective December 15th, 2020. Please make sure that your cell phones are silenced. If you have any correspondence for distribution to elected officials, it should be provided to the city clerk and should include a copy for the city clerk for inclusion in the official record. Our meeting schedule for January is as follows. January 3rd, we have no meeting. January 10th, 17th, and 24th, we have a work session at 4 p.m. And January 31st, we have a regular session at 7 p.m. We do have an appointment today to the City Ethics Commission for Jessica Scott, term to expire September 1, 2024. If I could get a motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Oops, sorry.
Seconded by Takesha. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And Jessica, if you could join me up front. I'm gonna stand here so you're kind of facing the audience. Yeah. You can just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jessica Scott, do swear
I, Jessica Scott, do swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Hagerstown,
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Hagerstown,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of the City Ethics Commission
execute the office of the City Ethics Commission
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
according to the Constitution and laws of the state.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sign beside your name there. This is for you. All right. Oh, Jessica, I'm sorry, can we get a photo? Thank you. All right, up next, we have a special recognition. Sheriff Mullendorf, if you could join me up here, please. That picks me up. I think this probably picks me up. I'm loud. Okay. So thank you so much for coming. I think everyone is aware that you are now officially retired.
As of last Thursday.
As of last Thursday. You've been such a tremendous asset to Washington County and to Hagerstown, and we just wanted to bring you in to have you face to face to say thank you for all that you've done. Me personally, I've gotten to know you very well over the last 6 years, and I appreciate you for being my friend, for being my ally, for being my champion with Washington Goes Purple. And I know I said this last Saturday, but it's worth saying again, for always treating everyone with dignity and respect, because you've done your job and served everyone. You've treated humans like humans, no matter what circumstance you were in. I've always admired that about you, and I appreciate all that you've done. So we do have a recognition of service for you with gratitude and appreciation for your dedication and service to the citizens of Hagerstown and Washington County.
Thank you so much.
For you. Thank you.
Doug. He'll always be sheriff, but I just want to say thank you. You were key for helping me when I took over 5 years ago, and even before that, in all the positions I've been in. I want to just thank you very much for everything you've done for me personally, and what you've done to collaborate with the city of Hagerstown, with the city police department, to make our community as safe as it can be. It's something that will carry well beyond you and me, and you get most of that credit, so I just want to say thank you. So
It's been a great working relationship. I always say, everywhere I ever went throughout the state, that we were virtually one department. Even though we had 2 different patches, 2 different uniforms, we were virtually one because we worked so closely together. And, you know, I always look forward to that, and you've been a great chief, and look forward to continuing that relationship.
enjoy your retirement. Well deserved. Well deserved. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
I think we got elected to our county positions the same election cycle. Unlike yourself, I was not invited back. And, but, you know, through that course of time, I think it's important to put into perspective the things that you were at the helm of. Some when I was there and some here, but I remember the tour that you provided us when I was a commissioner, when we broke ground for the expansion of the detention center, and the improvements that you made to ensure the proper care of the female individuals incarcerated. Central booking was one that was high on that list of accomplishment. Also, I know that you were steadfast in the state and federal entities placing individuals in your facility, without due care or compensation. And so, you put it into that. Also, the 911 center. And probably a lesser known one is making the court safer for folks to come in, for individuals, being heard to come in behind the building, and then the mutual aid between the Hagerstown Police Department and the Sheriff's Department. So they're all things that I remember that were under your stead. So we appreciate that.
We were the first in the state, and the only ones in the state to actually swear in our municipal officers and special deputies so that they could have the authority that they needed, because anybody that follows the boundaries of any municipality, but particularly Hagerstown, is like an octopus, and it goes all different directions. So we wanted to give them that authority so they could enforce the laws just as they should.
I think before those things, we clearly operated as 2 separate entities, and all of those items that I mentioned sort of led us into that cooperative process. Thank you.
It's always hard to follow up. Councilman Rouser, but no, thank you for your service. Enjoy your retirement. It's well deserved. Thank you.
The Sheriff, I just want to say thank you for, man, it's been from me picking up a check with Karen Cook for the Robert W. Johnson Community Center to sitting at the table with you about mediation in the Day Reporting Center, but then also during election being able to reach out to you whenever they thought that I was somebody else in Indiana and had a warrant and wasn't going to let me back into the detention center. So I thank you. I thank you for your service. I thank you for your humility, and I thank you just for being here in your service to this region. Thank you. God bless you. Godspeed. Amen. Happy retirement.
I mean, we're gonna miss you, my goodness. Sheriff Albert sure has some big shoes to fill with that resume, my heavens. Okay, I mean, don't say that out too loud. I mean, I would just keep that to yourself. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for all that you've done. We really sincerely appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much.
Yes. Yes.
Emily, did you get a picture? Picture? Did you get a photo?
Let's get a picture.
Yeah. Yeah. You would regret that. I know you. I know you.
I'm definitely in this one.
We always say. We know it.
Just in case.
We do it every time.
You see them pictures with us
You
like
see,
this?
some of them have us in it.
And we're like this.
I don't know. All
right, up next, we have citizen comments. I think Donna has 2 that were emailed in today.
Yes, there were 2 emails that came in for citizen comments. The first is from Jim Laird at 1903 Maplewood Drive, Hagerstown. He has lived in his home for 47 years. It's about a quarter mile off the dual highway. Most of the time, he's enjoyed the neighborhood, working in his lawn, just relaxing, but in recent years, he's become concerned about loud vehicle exhaust on the dual highway, Edgewood Drive, and Landis Road. He realizes there will always be some unavoidable noise, but the neighborhood is enduring far more than is necessary from extremely loud and illegal exhaust systems. He has complained to the Hagerstown Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, and the State Police, and they have informed him that there isn't a lot they can do at this point. He says that there is a deficiency in the present Maryland law that doesn't allow fines for illegal exhausts. He has also contacted Senator Paul Quarterman to ask for revisions to Maryland state law. He's done online research and has discovered that most cities around the world have the same problem with loud exhaust. He includes in his email a number of links to some of these studies and some of the testing requirements in other jurisdictions. And he has spoken to Senator Quarterman about this several times, and Senator Quarterman recommends that he present this idea to both the City Council and the County Commissioners. So he has submitted this to the Mayor and City Council. His email in full will be posted online with the meeting agenda, as well as made part of the official record. The second email for council comments is from the General Manager of Sleep Inn and Suites in Hagerstown, located at 18216 Colonel Henry K. Douglas Drive. He is against these put forth policies of licensing of hotels in the city of Hagerstown. He appreciates what the governing bodies of the city of Hagerstown are trying to accomplish, but this is not a solution of the overarching issues presented to have these policies go in effect. He mentioned that major hotels are under franchise agreements that have numerous training requirements for staff, which are mandatory. Most hotels listed here are up to date on their taxes, and most do not rent rooms for hourly rates. There's a strong feeling that this will hurt the small business owners and operators because of the excess burden of taxes and licensing headaches. And again, that email will be included on the city's website and in the official record.
Thank you. All right, so we do have several people signed up to speak today. Comments are limited to 5 minutes, so I do have a timer. So when you hear the timer go off, if you could finish your thought. And then when you come forward, if you could state your name and address, and then your time will start. So up first, signed to speak today, we do have Mr. Jim Laird. If you could just come forward and state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Right here?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm Jim Laird. I live at 1903 Maplewood Drive, Hagerstown. Ms. Pickler read a good bit of my speech already, so I guess I'll just go over it because I can't remember which parts she left out. But basically, I have lived at the same place for 47 years, and as she said, it started out being a nice, quiet, peaceful neighborhood. Now it's so loud that we can't enjoy living in our yards and relaxing, walking in the neighborhood. I have 2 neighbors here, Bill Shank and Phil Rader, who have the same problem. They're supporting me tonight to let you know that Jim Laird is not the only person who has a problem out there. So as I think I did a lot of online research. One thing I found recently is in Harvard Medical Magazine, the researchers have shown that noise pollution not only causes hearing loss, tinnitus, and hypersensitivity to sound, but it can cause or exacerbate cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, sleep disturbances, stress, mental health, cognitive problems, including memory impairment and attention deficit, childhood learning delays, and low birth weight. And scientists are investigating other possibilities of links, including to dementia. So noise pollution is harmful to our health, no doubt, just as much as air pollution and water pollution, which we have addressed for years ago, and we're kind of ignoring the new one, the noise pollution. I know it stresses me, because when I'm in the house for several hours and I want to go outside and get some fresh air and relax, the first thing I hear is, wah! And I don't know, you didn't enjoy that, did you? I didn't. So that's what we hear. And on a nice, comfortable Sunday afternoon in the spring or summer, you want to go outside and enjoy a little rest in the hammock or cook a hot dog on the grill. You hear all afternoon, and Dual Highway is a quarter of a mile from where I live, and it's really loud, so I hate to think how it is for these people that live downtown and have to hear that constantly. So, as she said, we have talked to Senator Corderman, and he arranged for us to meet with 2 sheriff's deputies and 2 city policemen to discuss the issue with them and to see if there's anything that could be done by the state to change the laws that would help them with enforcement. So we did have a conversation, and the police didn't come up with any ideas for change, but I did. I suggested that a new law should be made or amended to allow for a fine, a stiff fine or penalty that would make it painful for these guys to get caught and be detrimental to their wallet, so they may avoid doing that anymore. And there seems to be a problem that the police mentioned, that when they go to court, the judge kind of demands that they produce some evidence of a measure that they've used with a decibel meter to prove that the exhaust was actually in excess of the legal limit. So the police don't have these things, or if they have them, they don't have any that work. And it's very inconvenient and expensive. It would be expensive to provide everyone with a decibel meter. So my one opinion or a suggestion would also be pass a law that gives these policemen the authority to write a ticket on their own recognition of their using their own senses, their hearing, to say this is a loud exhaust and it's illegal. I'm not sure how that works right now, but I think they're telling me that that's not acceptable. The policeman's word is nothing in court. I think there are some other states that do accept the policeman's word for it. I've done, like I said, I've done a lot of research. I believe New York City and or New York State and California do accept the policeman's word that it's illegal. And I don't know what happens then. They probably have to go to an inspection station and get a legitimate or electronic measurement and get their fine. But anyway, the main point I want to make is there is a
The 5 minutes is up, so if you could wrap up your thought,
okay,
please.
well, there's
Thank
a
you.
gadget out that's available to work very similar to the way your camera speed zone in the school zone works, only it measures noise, and it issues a ticket, and you mail it to the people, and that would seem like the right thing to do. You don't have policemen able to enforce this, so you could look into doing that, and you could be like catching fish in a net rather than trying to catch one at a time on an unbaited hook. That's my feeling. So
Thank
I would
you.
encourage you to go with that idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Mr. Raj Patel. If you could come up and state your name, address, and then you have 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, council members. My name is Raj Patel. I own several hotels in Hagerstown. A few of you know me from a few years ago when they had issues. And this ordinance that you're trying to pass, if you don't understand it, don't pass it. I know that you guys put a lot of effort into this thing. And basically, you're telling us is to deter from calling 911 calls. you know? And if you don't understand it, you shouldn't vote on it. Nobody from your side ever came to all these hoteliers and sit down with us and try to work out a plan. Hey, let's agree on a simple plan that we can both work with. You know, deterring 911 calls is not the answer. You know, I work with REACH, I work with homeless people. Here's an example I gave you. You know, I had a girl named Michelle. She was, I think, put up by REACH or DSS. She was there for a month. She used to call the ambulance every day. I get a mail from CRS, I give it to her, and she threw it in the garbage. I looked at it, it was a $24,000 bill that us taxpayers are paying for it, you know. And we have the same thing issues, you know. Days in, it's always the same thing, you know. She started a fire over there. Then she went to the plaza. Then I kicked her out from over there. Then she went to my other hotel, Microtel. I kicked her out from over there. I don't need that kind of nonsense where they're setting fires on, calling the ambulance station every day. At the plaza, we have a tent thing issues back there. Paul knows about it. And we had 50 calls from them from the police departments. Those people in the tents, they come up to the regular patrons and guests and stick them with a knife trying to get the money out of the purse. It was a good thing it was a Canadian person that happened to them, and they didn't find any lawsuits against the hotel or us. Hager Hall, which was closed down for 4 years, we must have at least 150 calls because they have a gazebo back there. They had tents over there, barbecuing. Those are the things. You know, Publix will always have limited calls abilities. They will find out, hey, oh, Raj can't call 911, the staff can't call 911, let's just, you know, have party at this hotels and just rampage everything. You know, it's not the thing that we should look for. We don't like those kind of people anyway, because those things, they cause troubles for us. You know, as far as staff issues, our staff also tells us, you know, who's gonna protect us? My wife, myself, my other staff members, most of my staff members have been physically assaulted. My wife, we even had, in a court, we went through it. And the court found her guilty for assaulting my wife. You know, we have camera systems. We have ID scanners. We have locks on the doors. We have alarms on the doors. Our fire stuff is always up and up. Last 4 years ago, that was one of the issues because it was a fire thing. We brought over to Plaza and they had issues over there. I try to run a clean hotel. It's not a shitty hotel. You know, you guys can come anytime you can come and visit. Say, Rod, can I look at your Plaza? Can I look at your Microtel? Can I look at your Days Inn? There's renovations every year that we have to go through. You know, every year we do renovations, whether it's painting the doors or changing the furniture, carpet, this and that. It's always there. You know, recently just Paul dropped this memorandum off last Tuesday or Monday it was, you know, Plaza, at the Garden Plaza. The front desk is about the size of that entire thing over there. That's how long it is. Before we got robbed over there a few times. Now it's enclosed in a glass case. You know, it's like we're like prisoners in our own hotels. You know, things has to change. The national average as crime is going up. If Hagerstown is right behind it in that time frame, then yes, it's good. Everything's going up, crime is going in a bad way, but statistically, you understand that. Same thing with the revenue. If all these guys' revenue was doing good and mine was tanking, then yeah, something's wrong with me. You know, there's something wrong with my hotel. But if I'm in the trend, national averages, you got shootings over there. You got shooting at schools, high schools, malls, everything, crimes everywhere. It's gonna go up, and you're introducing things like, oh, you can't call for loitering. You can't call for loud noise. Prostitution, all those things count against you. I tried to call Paul this morning, trying to figure out what's going on. I need a PhD to figure this thing out. He couldn't figure out. I have to refer you to the police department or somebody else to try to figure it out. You know, it's the guest that comes out of town, and we also serve no trespassing notice. I don't know if you received my emails. I sent several emails to you guys. Have you received those? Yes, sir. Okay. It's drug issues, drug issues, drug issues, drug issues, drug issues. That's it. You know. Somebody dies in my hotel, you know, nobody died ever for a fire. Yet we had overdoses, people died from them in our hotels. We have people actually commit suicide in our hotels, gunshots, okay? Those kind of stuff we don't need in my town, my hotel. I've been here for 22 years. You know, I invested in Plaza, I invested Days Inn, the Microtel, and Super 8. The Days Inn I bought, it was a foreclosed on. Bought the Super 8, I rescued that one as well. I rescued the Plaza. I also put the bid in for Hager Hall. I also put the bid in for Sheraton, which the younger Toyota guy owns. You know, it's not
Mr.
those
Your
things
time's up,
that,
so if you
I'm
could wrap
trying
up
my
your thought,
things, you know?
please.
And the other thing is, we have alarms. We are all trained on trafficking and prostitution, drugs, and things like that. If people are going into your room, you're checking in, and then there's guys going every day, half an hour, 15 minutes, we know that's prostitution. You know, same thing with drugs. If the guy is going out in the parking lot every half an hour, you know he's dealing drugs in the parking lot. We don't need this kind of thing. We don't need this ordinance. If you don't understand it, you shouldn't vote for it. Come sit down with us. Let's negotiate. We need something. Yes, we need to make it better, but not like this. You're actually deterring us from calling 911. That's what
Thank
this
you.
ordinance is doing to us. Thank you.
Up next.
And try not to have come to Jesus moment. That means with a bag of chips in your hand. That means, you know, you vote on this thing and it's like, uh-oh, I shouldn't have done that. So if you don't understand it and you think we can talk, please, let's sit down and talk. I know you guys are trying to push this thing through, but don't do it. Talk it out.
Up next, I don't want to get the pronunciation of your name wrong, so I'll just say B. Patel. Rod, sorry. I'm sorry? Yeah, if you could state your name and address, please, and then you have 5
My name
minutes.
is Rignesh Desai. I was the one who sent an email. I'm the general manager of Sleep Inn and Suites Hagerstown.
Okay.
I truly agree with Raj Patel. This ordinance is going to deter any hotelier, hotel operator of making a 911 phone call for counting against them. So there is a law that's about to pass that has a limit of 0.95%, which is truly like related to the number of rooms that each hotel or each entity would have. And truly, there are some instances where the hoteliers, operators has to call 911 for the safety of the guest, for safety of somebody else. I would prefer that the councilman make a decision on penalizing the people who are really culprit, not the people who are making a 911 phone call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing, please? Just simple, quick thing. It's like, you know, I buy a
Your-
car from a dealership.
Sure,
and
your
I
time
just-
is up, please. We're moving on. Thank you. Up next, we have Mr. Stout. Michael Stout, if you could state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
I'm going to give you good news. I promise I'm not going to yell. First of all, Michael Stout, 18 South Mulberry. I want to tell you that I had a good time at the German thing in the University Plaza. That surprised me. I got my picture taken with Santa. I want to tell you some good news. Sometimes politicians aren't good to deal with CEOs of companies. I worked with Mr. Josh Emeritus. He stepped up to the plate 100%. Big difference. Today I received, I sent another, I call them my little letters, emails. I got a response back from Travis Sheets. He's the president and CEO of Sheets. He wasn't aware of a lot of things, but he plainly gave me some good news in here that he would like me to give him some opinions about how to correct the store that's up there now. They are planning on moving, but he didn't tell me anything. They're looking at another location, so I can't give you any gossip about that. But you know there was some incidents up on Cannon this past where there's some bad things happened, but there is a change. The police department are sitting up there all the time, and I've got to give them a lot of credit because the street's being cleared. This is a good step. And if you have any suggestion, this is the time, I'm going to give him my opinion, and the people on Cannon. It's just simple things, but our neighborhood is improving, especially with the one property up the street. It's wiped out. It's wiped out. There's no ambulances at 2 and 3 in the morning, no police, no raids. It's wiped out, and that helped. So that Sheets is the only issue left, and the cold weather's here, but I do notice something. There's a lot of different people homeless people. And the laws are changing to protect the homeless. So that gentleman there, the laws are changing all over the nation about it. And I understand where he's coming from. We see it in our neighborhood. But you all do the right thing, I hope. But the last thing I'm going to do, I gave her a picture of a pretty Christmas tree. I'm not criticizing the one down there, but I'm going to offer you this. After the new year comes in, maybe you'll consider what I'm going to tell you. Maybe you think maybe you should let a few citizens, not politicians, not downtown workers, how about a few citizens form a little committee, and all these millionaires out there in Hagerstown, maybe they can dip in their pocket, maybe you all can dip in and donate $100 towards some lights and decorations to maybe make downtown brighter. Take a look on Facebook at the city of Frostburg. You'll never find a more beautiful downtown. Really. The Christmas tree, everything, beautiful. And then they've been posting, take a look on there. But downtown needs a little work to brighten it up. It doesn't really look Christmassy. I know you're up there fuming probably, but it really doesn't look Christmassy. The tree's fine for and the construction, it should have been moved on the other side, but anyhow, I'm looking forward to New Year's down there.
Me too.
And I'll bring the bottle of champagne. Gee, don't arrest me. But anyhow, I hope you all have a safe, enjoyable holiday. And this weekend looks like it might be a little icy. But anyhow, think about that about next year for the tree, that there are citizens out there that will help, including me. And really, have a good holiday.
Thank you.
And I'm on my way home to bake, but I'll go out that door so I don't get in trouble.
Thank you.
holidays, Mr. Sapp.
And up next, we have Alicia LeBon. If you could come up and state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes, please.
Hi, my name is Alicia LeBon. I live at 1914 Abbey Lane, Hagerstown, Maryland. I decided today to take the front seat on this matter because this will only impact our homeless community. My name's Alicia, and I'm a community advocate that works with clients who live in poverty. My concerns about this bill being passed is that hotels will stop offering rooms to people who need long-term stays just to avoid being regulated. Section F will increase the cost, making it hard for off-the-street living, the people that need it the most. 230/25 A and B, we already have a huge problem with hotels calling law enforcement because of the fear of them being shut down. This tier system will only jeopardize the safety of the hotel staff and clients. We're faced with many challenges in this community with trying to house families. In the city of Hagerstown, negative public opinion always tends to focus on the homeless and those who use substances. By acting in this ordinance will only amplify the public's opinion. There's not enough shelters or affordable housing for the individuals we serve. Salvation Army is currently shut down. These hotels are the only options for our families right now. The fear of this bill being passed will increase the cost to the unfortunate. Then it becomes a bigger problem, and it becomes a messy problem. I only say this because I work in the community with poverty, and I work with individuals, and I see the struggle of other agencies trying to house families. It's a struggle. And we depend on these hotels to house them until we can find some. So I would hate for this problem to get any worse. So I felt that I needed to come here today and voice my opinion. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you. There is no one else signed up to speak today. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? If you could state your name and address, please, and you have 5 minutes.
My name is Bakul Patel. I'm with 310 East Potomac Street, Williamsport. I know it's outside of City Hagerstown, but I do operate a hotel. I'm a hotel manager myself. I think this ordinance that I read about sounds like arbitrarily puts hotel operators at a fault, so to speak. I think there is a room for negotiation or sit down on a table kind of thing. You know, that had to be talked about with hotel operators. I mean, just like the other speakers just said, like we are sometimes helping by housing these people who are otherwise would be running around on the streets. And just like Raj said that, I think people who cause these problems, they should be the one penalized, not the one that we are trying to minimize this. And sometimes hotel operators are forced to make decisions because of the safety of the other guests. There are a lot of times I find them at my hotel is like, other guests make those calls directly without our knowledge because they feel unsafe about things. So I think this calls for some more thoughtful process, sitting down face to face. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak this evening? All right, we're moving on from citizen comments to approval of the minutes.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the approval of minutes as presented for the mayor and council meetings held on November 1st, 2022, November 8th, 2022, November 15th, 2022, and November 22nd, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move that all the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of an ordinance to purchase 50-58 West Antietam Street.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move to approve an ordinance to approve the agreement of sale for the purchase of a real property known as 50 through 58 West Antietam Street for the construction of a parking deck. Funding for the acquisition will be from future bond issue.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of an ordinance, add Chapter 230 Transient Housing to the City Code.
Madam Mayor, I would move that the mayor and city council approve an ordinance to add Chapter 230 Transient Housing to the Code of the City of Hagerstown. This added chapter will, 1, establish a licensing program for transient housing facilities which includes hotels, motels, inns, bed and breakfast structures, and short-term rentals. 2, enact license fees for transient housing facilities based on tier level for hotels and license fees for bed and breakfast and short-term rentals. 3, create a tier structure related to cost for service, ratio for hotels. 4, establish inspection requirements for transient housing facilities. 5, require training for transient housing owners, managers, and staff on human trafficking activities, human trafficking victims, and overdose response programs. 6, create transient housing facility guest register requirements pertaining to transient visitors letting any transient housing unit. 7, enact premises requirements prohibiting hourly rates and letting transient housing units for illegal purposes. And 8, provide processes to deny, suspend, or revoke transient housing facility applications and licenses.
I'd like to move to table the discussion to open up an opportunity with the hoteliers. I don't know if we need to second it or what, I don't know. This is where Lou comes in, I don't know the next
I
part.
hear them too, and because of that, and my first job was at a hotel, front desk, and I hear you. And I'm reading this, and maybe we just need to explain it better, but I would like to table as well until we talk with the people who provide services as well as the hotels and make sure they understand.
One of the things that you said to us, Raj, in your email was that it takes a village. And it is not city government's responsibility to provide social services, and I understand the things that you face and that the community faces. So as the village, we need to sit with the village. And while there needs to be something to control what's going on in our city, in your hotels, so I'm not saying that this is not going to be the end result, but I do think that it's important that we sit down and have a discussion.
Yes, and please.
Are we motioning to table? Because the rules of order say we motion to table second, we don't have discussion,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I feel like we're entering in discussion. If a motion is tabled and second, and that's what we're doing, then we should stop talking about it
You
now.
made a motion, is there a second? So the motion dies.
And I second.
It does, okay. So there's a motion to table.
And I second.
Okay.
By Takesha.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
All in favor of the table.
All in favor to table, so that's 3, and any opposed?
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right, amending Chapter 65 habitual offender to enhance support to our transient visitors in neighborhoods.
We got to move the table each of these associated with that. You guys should go ahead and do that.
So do we have to read the motion?
Mm-hmm.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council approve an ordinance to amend Chapter 65 habitual offender of the Code of the City of Hagerstown. This chapter will be amended to include Chapter 230 transient housing. This amendment is intended to provide additional protections for our transient visitors and neighborhoods from nuisance activities and conditions. Actions.
I should have read that.
Yeah.
I should have read it.
Right.
Because if you three are tabling
Well, I
it-
know, that's what I said. Do you want me to read it?
You said,
yes.
I thought you said, do we have to read it?
Oh, I said, do you
So,
want me to read it?
We have to read it, yes.
Do you want me to unread it?
No, I should be the one reading it, because
Okay.
if you make the motion, you
Okay.
can't vote against
Okay,
it
then
then.
please cancel my reading.
I hereby move that the mayor and city council approve an ordinance to amend Chapter 65 habitual offender of the Code of the City of Hagerstown. This chapter will be amended to include Chapter 230 transient housing. This amendment is intended to provide additional protections for our transient visitors and neighborhoods from nuisance actions and conditions.
I move to table.
Second.
That move to table with the same time frame until the discussion is held?
Yes.
Because at the table, you have to say when.
Well, yes, until we have the discussion, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Approve of an ordinance amending Chapter 95 excessive use of city services to impose fees for police, law enforcement services, and code administration services, which are over and above the cost of providing normal police protection, law enforcement, and code administration services at transient housing facilities.
Madam Mayor, I have been moved that the mayor and city council approve an ordinance to amend Chapter 95 excessive use of city services of the Code of the City of Hagerstown. These amendments will, 1, establish definitions for transient housing facilities and short-term rental. 2, amend the definitions for commercial property, multi-unit residential structure, and residential property. 3, add transient housing facility to chronic nuisance property definition for HPD, qualifying calls with a minimum number of 60 qualifying calls in a 12-month period. 4, require HPD and code administration to publish a list of properties deemed chronic nuisance properties annually.
I move to table this until we have a discussion with the hoteliers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion's tabled. Approval of an ordinance authorizing the sale of property located at 239 North Locust Street.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move to approve an ordinance authorizing the sale of property located at 239 North Locust, Hagerstown, Maryland, to Augustine M. Blease for a purchase price of $45,000. The sale will provide the opportunity for new investment and redevelopment at 239 North Locust Street. The sale will be in accordance with all the terms and conditions outlined in the attached purchase agreement.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of an ordinance conveyance of 43-47 West Washington Street.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for the introduction of an ordinance to approve the property acquisition agreement for the conveyance of 351 square foot of land at 43-47 West Washington Street to Blackthorn Capital Properties, BCP property.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of an ordinance to approve the purchase of a portion of a certain parcel of real property located at Heb Road, Hagerstown, Maryland, and an easement to and from said portion, and authorizing execution and delivery of a property acquisition agreement by and among the city and Carroll Investments, Margaret Harrison Holdings, and Fraloha LLC.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for the introduction of an ordinance to purchase a portion of property known as parcel 824 on TM 317, LIBOR 4288, folio 128, located on Heb Road, Hagerstown, Maryland, authorizing the execution and delivery of the attached property acquisition agreement between the city and Carol Lee Investments LLC, a Maryland Limited Liability Company, Margaret L. Harrison Holdings LLC, a Maryland Limited Liability Company, and for Loha LLC, a Wyoming Limited Liability Company authorized to do business in the state of Maryland.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, lease amendment with the Foundry Pop-Ups LLC for the City of Hagerstown property located at 6 North Potomac Street.
Madam Mayor, hereby move that the mayor and city council to approve the attached resolution authorizing the lease amendment with the Foundry Pop-Ups LLC at the City of Hagerstown property located at 6 North Potomac Street in Hagerstown, Maryland. The approval provides that the city administrator may make administrative edits to the attached amendment if necessary prior to execution.
Second.
Second by Takesha. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, approval of a user agreement with the Colt and Palomino League for use of Helene Park.
Madam Mayor, move for the mayor and council to approve a resolution to enter into a long-term user agreement with the Colt and Palomino League for exclusive use of the Helene Park baseball field. The agreement shall be for 2 years, beginning on January 1, 2023, with the option for 2 additional 2-year extensions. The city shall charge no monetary rent for use of the premises.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question. So in reading each of these, and I've probably asked this question before, this exclusive rights agreement does not preclude individuals from, I don't know what the right word is, non-organized. It doesn't preclude.
Some make-up game and somebody.
Yes.
Field.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They don't have, this doesn't give Colt or Palomino or whoever else we have these agreements with the ability to go in and say, hey, you 7 kids, you can't be playing on the field, they're our fields, you're messing up the bases and the lines, right?
I don't think so. The agreement is pretty much word for word for the agreement that's been in place for years.
Okay.
But my understanding is, yeah, if some kids showed up at the park, any of these parks and tried playing a game during the day, they wouldn't be kicked off, or these clubs
Okay.
wouldn't be allowed to do that.
It doesn't allow for that.
It
doesn't allow for that. It doesn't give the Colt League the right to say,
It gives them the right to organize sport there.
Right.
They're the ones that kind of control and maintain.
yeah, they kind of
that
take care of the
property.
place.
For the most part, right. But if somebody comes, but a group of kids go to these parks and play on these fields, because they're all volunteer, I doubt there's gonna be anybody that's gonna ask them to leave anyway.
Okay.
All right?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, approval of a user agreement with West End Little League for use of Helene Park.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve a resolution to enter into a long-term user agreement with the West End Little League for exclusive use of the Helene Park baseball field. The agreement shall be for 2 years, beginning on January 1st, 2023, with the option for 2 additional year extensions. The city shall charge no monetary rent for use of the premises.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, approval of a user agreement with American Little League for use of Hager Park.
Madam Mayor, hereby move for mayor and council to approve a resolution to enter into a long-term user agreement with the American Little League for exclusive use of Hager Park baseball field. The agreement shall be for 2 years, beginning on January 1st, 2023, with the option of 2 additional 2-year extensions. The city shall charge no monetary rent for the use of premises.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, approval of a user agreement with Hagerstown Pony League for use of Funkhauser Park baseball field.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve a resolution to enter into long-term user agreement with the Hagerstown Pony League for exclusive use of the Funkhauser Park baseball field. The agreement shall be for 2 years beginning on January 1st, 2023, with the option for 2 additional 2-year extensions. The city shall charge no monetary rent for use of the premises.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, approval of a user agreement with the Hagerstown BMX Inc. for use of a portion of Fairgrounds Park.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve a resolution to enter into a long-term user agreement with the Hagerstown BMX Inc. for use of a portion of the Hagerstown Fairgrounds to be used exclusively for conducting bicycle motocross events and practice sessions for the community. The facility shall be open to the public a minimum of 3 hours per week from April 1 through October 31st each year, but not exceed 10 hours per week. The agreement shall be for 2 years, beginning on January 1st, 2023, with the option for 2 additional 2-year extensions. The city shall charge no monetary rent for use of the premises.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, approval of field repair agreement with Hagerstown Fairgrounds Softball Association.
Madam Mayor, move for mayor and council to approve a resolution to enter into a field repair agreement with the Hagerstown Fairgrounds Softball Association, Inc., HFSA, and to make an interest-free loan to said association. The amount of the loan will be $20,000 for the purpose of laser grading 3 fields at Fairgrounds Park and 3 fields at City Park and repairing fences at Fairground Park. The repayment terms of the loan will be 5 equal payments of $4,000 per year over 5 years. Repayment will be due each July 1st, beginning in calendar year 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, 6th Amendment to Agreement with American Traffic Solutions, Inc., doing business as Vera Mobility for the purpose of providing a digital red light camera system and related office services.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of a resolution to approve a 6th Amendment to the agreement with American Traffic Solutions, Inc., DBA Vera Mobility for a digital red light camera system. The term of this amendment is January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, execution and delivery of an assignment innovation agreement with Recor Recognition Services Systems, Inc. and Alumet, Inc.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of a resolution to approve and execute an assignment and novation agreement with Recor Recognition, Recognition Systems, Inc. and Alumet, Inc. for the purposes of continuation of an automated speed enforcement system and related services. The assignment will be effective through January 31st, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of an agreement with State of Maryland Department of Natural Resources.
Madam Mayor, hereby move to approve and execute a landowner project agreement with the State of Maryland Department of Natural Resources to perform reforestation planting at the city-owned former landfill off of Rush Road. This project will earn credits toward the city's MS4 permit requirements.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of application of fiscal year '24 program open space funding.
Madam Mayor, move for mayor and council approval of application to Washington County Government requesting FY24 program open space development funding for improvements to the city's recreational facilities, POS share listed as follows. 1, Hager House, Phase 1 renovation of the Visitor Center for $135,000. 2, Antietam Creek Waterway Trail, $135,000. And 3, Hagerstown Field House, $225,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval to increase the purchase order amount for YMCA pool operations.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve an increase in purchase order 2022-1216 from $99,010 to $119,229.25 to cover costs incurred by the YMCA for pool operations at the Potterfield Pool. Additional costs were incurred due to pool repairs and increases in labor wages.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of a license agreement, installation of trolley photos.
Madam Mayor, here,
You go.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move to execute a license agreement between the City of Hagerstown and Deborah Sue Kepler to install historical photo panels on Miss Kepler's building at 246 Summit Avenue. The city will fund the cost to produce and install the photo panels. Ms. Kepler will fund the cost to install and maintain lighting.
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you, Mrs. Kepler.
Yes, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of American Rescue Plan Act Citywide Restaurant Ready Grant Program.
Madam Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council to approve the attached guidelines and application form to create the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, Citywide Restaurant Ready Grant Program. Staff may make administrative edits with the approval of the city administrator. The program will be funded with $250,000 of ARPA funding by reallocating the following: $50,000 from negative economic impact, create home office space, and $200,000 from the revenue replacement placeholder for future government services needs.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. City Administrator.
Mayor, nothing for me except want to wish each and every one of you a very good holiday season and a happy new year, and be ready to come back and work on a budget when we meet again in January. It's a wonderful time of the year again. So thank you for your support in the last year, and hopefully we'll keep things moving.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Ashar.
Sure, a couple of comments. So I just want to address something because I am a little frustrated by how things occurred this evening related to the topic of the licensing of transit housing.
You too.
One, we didn't arbitrarily or spontaneously sort of invent this wheel and throw it before the elected body this evening. We borrowed this ordinance from many other large municipalities in the state of Maryland that have been operating with this type of ordinance for years. We didn't just come up with this off the top of our heads yesterday. We have discussed this issue in these chambers several times over the course of the last 4 years that I know of. And the same small fraction of hotel owners that receive, in my recollection of the number, the bulk of the calls, unlike the other hotel owners that did not attend these meetings, did not protest in such a way, showed up again. And through these multiple conversations, the first ordinance literally applies the same safe conditions as we require of our rentals through our rental licensing process. The second one provides the same safety requirements for tenants and patrons as we do of rentals. And the third one requires the same rules of law to apply to this type of housing that we apply to rentals. It's literally no different. We didn't invent this yesterday. The notion that staff doesn't know what they're doing, or that we haven't had conversations, or that we haven't discussed the implications this has, and this notion that an individual that is seeking that housing resource will not do so for fear that they're going to create the issue of the police being called on them is nonsensical. So I guess I have that frustration that it appears now to the public that we have now done something 11th hour, when literally we have spent a great deal of time, we have heard a great deal of feedback, we have had a great deal of presentation from staff, and have now reached the point, and only at the 11th hour have reversed course because a few specific owners who operate in a manner in which calls appear from those statistical data we received are generated, are suddenly once again opposed.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yep.
Councilmember Burnett.
I just want to give a shout out to Officer Zupan. I spent a couple hours with him during a ride-along this past Saturday. And just from observing and being on the field with him was really eye-awakening. I did want to just let the public know that when you call 911, to please be descriptive. If you're calling about a particular car, please give a color of the car, or make a model. It just helps with response time, because we did have a call that there was very little information, and it did, quote-unquote, waste a little bit of time to find out, what was going on with the situation. So, again, when you call 911, please give as much information as possible, and I just want to say happy holidays. Thank you.
Councilmember Martinez.
So I'm going to start by saying congratulations to Jessica, and also congratulations to Sheriff Mullendorf for his retirement. Also, I want to say that my decision to second the table behind Councilmember McIntyre was not easy, because I was one of the ones that during those sessions that we were having that was saying that, people should be held accountable for, the strain that they put on public services. It wasn't because of the hotel or the business owners, what they spoke. It was because of the provider, one of the providers within our homeless community, and with our people who need some type of housing. It was because of what she said. That kind of made me feel like maybe we need to have more discussion, maybe that they understand more. And so that's why I made that decision. I don't think that at the 11th hour, when a decision has been changed, I don't think that it appears that we haven't talked about it. I think that it appears that somebody got to the hearts of two people that want to say, we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. We have an issue. We have a serious issue. People are losing their houses. People that work very hard are losing their homes. I accompany many people day to day, whether it's the court, whether it's the DSS, that work very, very hard, and some of them need to be able to go into a hotel. And I don't want to feel that strain that we haven't put something in place for those types of people that work very hard. That's it. And everyone else, have a happy holiday.
I am equally frustrated. That was not the way that I expected that to go at all, based on, as Councilmember Alshire said, the discussions that we had and what staff presented. I've been to those hotels before. I've been with HPD. I know what goes on. I've seen the reports. I've seen the letters from visitors. I know that there's a problem. We all know in the city of Hagerstown, in Washington County, that there's a problem. But when Raj said that he was not going to call 911 and was going to avoid that because of penalties and fines, that is not right. And I will allow a discussion. I did not vote no. I wanted a discussion with him to have the opportunity to speak and feel like he is included in the decision, and the decision may stay the same. But we haven't had an ordinance for it for as long as I've been in this administration. It just keeps getting worse. So he said in his email that it takes a village, and the last thing that we want is for these individuals that are in these hotels to not have a place to stay, and they're out here, and it's cold, and they don't have anywhere to go, and there's families, and there's children. And I cannot sleep at night doing that without him knowing, like, look, this may be the way it is. This may be the way it is, and you're going to have to be on board with it. And maybe there's a solution that he has, because there is nowhere for them to go. We do not have a crisis center. We do not have shelters that are available 24/7 year-round. It is not something that we have in this county, and we're trying. The majority of this council up here does every single thing we do. We donate, we volunteer, we give and come up with solutions and help HPD, and we go to Brooks House, and we do all these things, but we are just constantly pointing fingers. The community's pointing fingers at us. We point fingers at people that have homeless issues. We have if we don't come together soon, what we continue to allow will continue. And I'm not willing to make a decision when I know that those hotel managers will not call and that staff will not call. And I cannot do that without them knowing that they have a voice at the table. And whether that voice sticks, at least they'll feel heard. So I apologize for adding to the frustration. This is not how I wanted to end the year, because I still love all of you. So happy holidays.
Thanks. I'd like to start. First, I have a request for letter of support from DHTD for the Marketplace LLC. Are you guys good with me sending this letter of support?
Yes.
All right. Second, I'd like to say happy holidays to everyone. I hope everyone has a great, safe holiday. And to Scott and the rest of our team, thank you for a great 2022. Looking forward to a great 2023. Third, I would like to address the literary masterpiece that is Herald Mail's copy and paste 4 articles that they're putting out about the city of Hagerstown leading into Christmas. And, I've been reading them, and I've been reading the comment section, and people frustrated with the drug issue and frustrated with the homeless issue and pointing it all on us like we're social service providers. And I got to tell you, I've been in office 6 years now, screaming from the rooftops, screaming from anyone who will listen, that we have a substance use and mental health issue in this community. I've sat in meetings after meetings, joined committee after committee, saying, if we don't do something, it's going to get worse. If we don't have services, it's going to get worse. If we don't have a crisis center, it's going to get worse. And for so long, those same people complaining in this community said, not my backyard. We don't need more services here. We don't need that. This government, this administration here, and the previous one has been the one leading that charge the whole time, saying our community is going to get worse if we don't provide the services that people need. And guess what, guys? The community got worse. So it's real easy to sit back behind your computer and complain and say, what are you guys doing about it? And we've been trying. We have been trying for years. What has other organizations around here done? What has county government done to help the drug use or homelessness issue or mental health issue? Why does it all fall on us? Because we've been the ones the whole time saying we want a crisis center. We want services. We want permanent supportive housing programs. We've been the ones meeting with the homeless organizations here going, what do you need from the city and what can we do more of? But we get pushback after pushback after pushback after not my backyard. So don't show up now and complain when we have been trying to work on this solution and have gotten nothing and no help. So hopefully the fact that this has gotten so bad now and what we've been warning everyone about has become true, now hopefully everyone will come to the table. And that leads me to talk about the homelessness issue. We have been meeting with the Homeless Coalition providers for what, a year now? Going, what do you need? Do you need money? How do we have a year-round shelter? That's not a city initiative, right? That's what we have service providers for. But if we can help, we've offered, what do you need money? Where can we put a day shelter? Where can we put warming centers? And we're not really getting a lot of partnership. We have some, but not a lot. And yes, we're all one bad decision away from being homeless, and that leads me to these hotels, man. Listen, I'd rather a person be in a hotel than be sleeping under a bridge. But just because someone's poor, and because they're having a bad time, or just because someone made a bad decision, does not mean that they should live in unsanitary and unsafe conditions. And that's exactly what's going on in these hotels. And he can come in here and put on that Broadway level performance, but I've been in those hotels. They don't have bathrooms that are clean. They don't have kitchens. Half the time they don't have things that work, smoke detectors that work, and they're already not calling 911. I've had families that live in hotels tell me they are not allowed to call 911 because they will get evicted if there are overdoses or other things. It's already happening, and it's unnecessary. It is unnecessary. Just because someone is living in a hotel because that is their only choice does not mean that they should be living in conditions like that. And I get emails all the time. I got an email in March of last year from a grandfather who was traveling through Maryland, who stayed at Garden Plaza with his 8-year-old grandson. And when he got there was a woman performing oral sex in the car beside him, and then went out back and there was a drug deal being done. Can you imagine driving through Hagerstown and that's what you experience? So I'm sorry, but something's got to give, and I'm playing the world's smallest violin there. It's allowed to happen right now. It's allowed to happen, and it's not fair. It's not fair to our citizens. It's not fair to tourists. It's not fair to the families that are living in there. So I hope that all of this situation that we're facing here in the city, all of this frustration that I'm feeling, that you're feeling, that we're seeing as we're driving around, I hope this is my call to action. It's time for us all to come together and start finding solutions. And instead of playing the not my neighborhood stuff in the not my backyard, we need to start making things happen. And if you're not on board, either get on board or get out of our way. So with that, good night.
Good night.